Hi, and welcome to the third annual Black Family Homeschool Educators and Scholars Teach-In. My name is Arden Santana. I'm the founder of SＡGE Academy, and I am grateful to be among some brilliant, innovative, fun minds. I'm here to speak with you about the need for and the importance of civic education being included in our curriculum. So let's start with the facts that support my stance. The National Assessment of Educational Progress, which is a program mandated by Congress through the National Center for Education Statistics, released the nation's latest report card in 2018. In 2018, eighth graders were given the civics assessment. Our report card represents that less than 25% of the nation's eighth graders are proficient in civics. What's of concern to me is that 12th graders are not assessed. 12th graders are the group of people graduating from high school, entering the world under the presumption that they're going to be responsible, productive citizens, ready or near ready to engage in civic life. I took it upon myself to do a self-study where I looked at mission statements of public school systems across the country, and each of them tout that they're going to produce students who are productive, engaged citizens in the world, responsible citizens, just ready to engage in civic life. Somewhere in the verbiage of these mission statements say this. Yet, we don't have an assessment of their ability to engage civically in the world. So how is it that young adults graduating from high school can enter the working world, even if they're going to college? They're now 18 and on their own and away from home. And we're engaging civically in pretty much everything that we do. I'll get more into that later. How are they going to perform and deliver on, America's promise to make sure that they're productive citizens if they don't understand their Constitution or what rights are available to them, that are secured by the Constitution, or what the roles are of the public servants that they engage with, pretty much daily, in terms of interacting with them. Here's the reality based on classes and workshops that I facilitate. Many people 13 years and older, up to adults, can't identify the three branches of government and their roles. People complain, rant, and rave about issues in their communities, in their state, and around the nation, but seldom know where to go or what to do to address the problems. Some people get into situations with public servants and are ignorant about how, to respond or engage. And I don't mean ignorant in a derogatory kind of way. Ignorant just means to be unaware, and we're all unaware of something. So I want to have this talk over coffee, my preferred hot beverage, about steps we can take to raise our civic literacy. First, you must know how your local government is organized, the geopolitical structure of your state. Does your state have an active county? Let's go back for a minute, actually. We're going to look at some of the issues that come up for people, that they want addressed, but don't know where to get, where to have these issues addressed. So let's say people are flying down your street where someone hearing impaired lives on the street and you need speed bumps. Or let's say you want to start a recycling program in your community. Who do you talk to? Who do you go to get that issue addressed? So you have to know how your local government is organized, the geopolitical structure of your state. Does your state have an active county form of government, like Maryland and Pennsylvania, for example? Or do you live in a state with a municipal form of government, meaning that the towns and cities each have their own government, such as Connecticut? Is your local government a mayoral system, where residents elect a mayor and city council members who are the local legislators that fulfill the will of the people? In Georgia, for example, there's a commission system in which residents elect a group of people to serve on its commission or board. The commissioners serve as heads of departments that execute the laws and policies of the municipality. In a council manager system, residents elect a city council that in turn appoints a city manager who serves as the chief executive. This last organizational structure is unique to cities and towns. So to get those speed humps or the recycling program, Marylanders and Pennsylvanians would go to their city council, and Connecticuters would speak to their board of alders. Um, and again, as above, so below. So if somebody's not doing their job, you might go to your mayor, right? The governor is the supreme authority of a state. And for issues of national concern, you contact your state representatives. These are the public officials who are the closest to the people in your interests. So these nuances are typical of the reality that to live in America means we're in constant civic engagement. We're constantly participating in civic engagement in everything we do. Going to work, buying goods and services, operating your own business, driving your car, going fishing, protecting your family. You get the idea. So it's of dire importance that we and our children be proficiently educated in civics. Civic literacy, in my opinion, is necessary to our success, satisfaction, and happiness as reading, writing, and math. In fact, our liberty rests on it. So speaking of liberty, the constitutions of your state and of the national government are to be the first point of reference when seeking answers about law, duties and responsibilities of government officials, and your rights as a citizen. The 9th, 10th, and 14th Amendments provide clear distinctions between state, federal, and people's powers and rights. Okay, there's a quote here that says the 10th Amendment of the National Constitution declares the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor those prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. So this is the 10th Amendment that delegates rights between the federal government, the different states, and the people of those states. All right. So those commas and the nouns themselves represent that there's 3 different factions upon which rights are delegated. So this is where the real study comes in by digging into those constitutions, and then the resulting statutes that must not abridge them or go against the Constitution, or else they'll be deemed unconstitutional. And that's where our judicial branch comes in to approve it. So that's a whole nother tea talk, but just trying to make sure give you all some foundation. Okay. So all state governments are modeled after the federal government, each consisting of 3 branches: the executive branch at the top, legislative branch, and let me not say at the top, because we do have this system of checks and balances, right? Where the checks and balances system is designed so that one branch of government doesn't have more power than the other. So theoretically, they're equal, all right? The executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. And this is true on all levels of government. Just think as above, so below. If you look here at this chart, the federal government, the executive or the executor of the laws and everything is the president and his cabinet, those organizations and departments that provide for the services and protections that the government provides. On the state level, that would be your governor. So the governor is equivalent to the president. On the local level, it's the mayor. Okay, each have roles, and we'll go into that a little later on another slide for you as well. But the structure the structure is the same whether you're talking federal, state, or local. It just changes. The name of the position changes. Okay, so in order to make the government work for us, we must understand how power is distributed between the federal and state governments. Congress, the president, and the Supreme Court of the United States, respectively, they propose, execute, and approve laws. So let's see, the president, which is the executive branch, executes the laws that are proposed by the legislative branch or Congress, and the judicial branch is responsible for approving the laws. Okay, these roles are delegated down through national agencies. So your Department of Commerce, your Department of Agriculture, your your Department of Education. These are the agencies and the heads of which make up the president's cabinet that advise him in those areas, right? No one knows everything. Some people are ignorant in some things. So the cabinet are the experts in the various areas of life and civic engagement that we are entitled to. Um, and that's where, the information and the expertise comes from. And that gets delegated down to the state level and the local level. So for the education department, for example, you have the United States Department of Education. On your state level, you have the Connecticut State Department of Education. And then on the local level, you have the New Haven Public Schools. Okay, the superintendent is the head of the local level. A secretary of education is the head of the federal level, and so on and so forth. So collective knowledge of how our representative form of government works affects our voting power. Local and state reps are closest to the people of the state and where our popular votes make the most difference. Okay, the time to elect representatives into office who will advocate for your interests and your rights is well before the general election. So, understanding the election process is critical. From about February or March through August, depending on what state we're in, is when you should build you should begin your field work by researching the candidates and their positions on the issues that matter to you. States are vetting and nominating candidates right now in preparation for the midterm elections in November. So learn what's happening during the primaries and in the caucus meetings. All right, this is what's happening right now, where representatives on the state level that may have empty seats or where the election time is their term is up, so they're up for re-election or re-election. Um, Potential candidates for president are being vetted now for roles in Congress. And the people who are paying closer attention are attending the primaries and the caucuses so they can figure out who is being nominated to be put into these potential positions of leadership. Um, and then once you start to understand the electoral process, you will begin to understand why early in the game, like the election process is year round. You have to be engaged civically year round. Okay, so that process, understanding that process, will help you to understand um, why is it now that you want to begin looking for the people to put in the representative seats so that they can represent your interests at the time when it's their time to elect the president and the vice president. Another tea talk. That wasn't that. Okay. So know where to find information. Questions and comments about public policy issues, legislation, or requests for personal assistance. Yes, requests for personal assistance. The government is here to serve the people, okay, to protect or to secure our constitutionally guaranteed rights. These types of inquiries should be directed to your state senator. The U.S. House of Representatives serves the people of a specific congressional district within your state. These members of the legislative branch make and pass federal laws, introduce bills and resolutions, and offer amendments. So to find out who holds these offices, you begin with your state government's website. So for example, Georgia.gov. In some instances, you'll have to search the website of the county, city, or town you live in. Maryland, for example, Pennsylvania would be the best example. It's pretty large. They have a county structure, and the state government website does not contain the information for Philadelphia County. And then there's boroughs or towns, the municipalities within the county. So it's a rabbit hole. You may not find it easily, but that's where you're going to have to, take your time, search the websites, and just use those keywords that you are looking for. Use the keywords related to the information that you're looking for specifically in searches. I noticed that some state government websites, they're better designed than others. Some are a little more easy to navigate, and some are not. So, don't give up at the first try. You gotta, stay at it. Do your due diligence. And like I said, it's year-round work. At Senate.gov, you can view the record of how Congress members vote on bills, acts, and laws. At GovTrack, you can sign up to receive notifications whenever Congress votes on a new bill. All right. So again, being constantly in the know, and being timely so that you can begin to communicate and form, allyship with your representatives. Here are some links to some favorite resources you can add to your civic curriculum plans for now and ever. iCivics is good for middle to high school lessons, and I believe they're adding elementary lessons. Kids Citizen is great for the elementary learners in your family. Vote Smart provides some good background information for teachers. So as teachers are planning their lessons, teacher parent, educator scholar. You look at Vote Smart to get the background information you need to teach the children and our whole family. Like the civic should be a prerequisite for everybody in the family. And then the U.S. Embassy website has a really great infographic for the election process. So that's a good one too. All right. So in closing, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend with me during the Black Family Homeschool Educators and Scholars third annual teach-in. For me, it's the family and the educators. Collectively and consciously, we're learning, evolving, and healing. And I believe that raising our civic IQ is as necessary to our healing as working on our emotional intelligence and increasing literacy in reading and math. Be well and be great.